I said stop myself, I'm not myself. Headed into anything knowing that I got myself. And all my enemies wishing that I shot myself. Dead on the bed, clothes covered in red. Stop myself, I'm not myself. Headed into anything knowing that I got myself. And all my enemies wishing that I shot myself. Dead.
What is up, y'all? It is Mike and Nick here. CST, about to get it popping for UFC 309. How you doing tonight, Nick?
I'm good, bro. I'm just sharing the live right now to my Instagram, see if a few people want to jump in for it. Fucking Luka Doncic's never going to get a triple-double, it feels like. Pretty excited for this UFC card right here. And, yeah, how are you feeling, Big Mike?
Shit, I'm all right, motherfuckers. We just took a brutal L in Philly tonight. Commanders had high hopes for the boys, but at the same time, it is what it is. I want to say I had high hopes. Like, it's like, oh man, I can't believe we lost. I can believe we lost, and I thought we were going to lose. But at the same time, once it starts going, we score first, the hope starts to come back, and it is what it is. We lost by one possession. I'm spinning that narrative all week. Jalen Carter and Saquon carried. And they barely scraped by with a 26-18 win.
Anyone that watched the game knows for a fact that was a garbage time ass score by definition.
That Zach Ertz catch for the 2-point conversion, best catch of the game, baby.
Yeah, that was nice, no doubt about it. Got a little Arnie Palmy going. Arnie Palmy alert for my other guys' fans out there.
I got a little Diet Pepsi because they had no Coke Zero at the stove.
I just want anyone to know that's watching. I had nothing to do with that title, talking about Jon Jones's ducking. Like, we already talked about this last week. Such a dumbass narrative. Jon Jones has done enough in his career to fight whoever the fuck he wants. And in the end of the day, if he chooses to fight Alex Pereira, that's going to be a far better selling fight than Tom Aspinall ever would. Yeah, the hardcore fan may think that's the fight to make, but you guys are fucking liars if you say that Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones sells more than Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones. And what's in favor of the company? What sells more? And I guarantee what sells more is Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira.
Freudian slip.
What'd you say?
Freudian slip. I was joking though.
Oh, is that what you call it? A Freudian slip when I start to say the other term?
I do agree. Yeah. Like a Freudian slip is like if somebody I'm trying to lie, but I accidentally slip out something different. They're like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even trying to lie though. As we all know, that's actually how I feel. I said it last time and I'll say it this time. So
one thing that was interesting, I actually haven't gotten a chance to check out the press conference in full, but Dana White says the winner of this main event should definitely fight Tom Aspinall, and the crowd reacted with a roar. And Jon Jones was mid-sip as he was saying it. And when Jon Jones brings his water bottle back down, he acknowledges the crowd being happy about it and has this little sneaky smirk on his face, shit, if they want it, maybe. I mean, I'm not saying what Jon Jones is or is not planning, but at the end of the day, I don't think he's scared of Tom Aspinall. And who knows what that crazy person is thinking. So we'll find out Saturday night.
Yeah, and Jon Jones is actually crazy. If they study his brain when it's all said and done, it's going to be an interesting one to study. What's up, TJ? It's good to see you, brother.
TJ, one of the GOATs.
Yeah, man. So we can kind of dive into this here. We gave people a few minutes to join in. If you're in here, man, give us a like, share, comment, subscribe, retweet. Thumbs up, all that good stuff. If you're on Facebook, doesn't really matter. First fight of the night, Eduardo Mora versus Veronica Hardy. Veronica Hardy's been on a hell of an upswing, to say the least. Her win against Juliana Miller, I saw coming from a mile away. I'm pretty proud of that call. She was a plus 4-1 underdog on that one. Juliana Miller fucking sucks. Jamie Lynn Horth, people thought it was a controversial split decision. I thought she won pretty clearly, 2-1. And JJ Aldridge, she did really, really well anti-grappling and also offensively grappling against JJ Aldridge herself, putting in some good striking and good combinations. Her fight IQ is super solid here. Dan Hardy's wife, I love Full Reptile. Full Reptiles, I haven't watched it in a while, but it used to be great to watch. She's fighting Eduardo Mora here, who's coming off a split decision win against Denise Gomez. She's had trouble making weight here. Denise Gomez is someone that I don't think is overly impressive, but I also thought Eduardo Mora, you could have made an argument that she won that fight, even though I thought Denise Gomez won that fight herself. Montserrat Ruiz, who I think is so fucking fine, but is also a midget. So winning that fight, it is impressive to win it by this finish. And the girl she fought on Contender Series had like an absolute can-crushing 0 record. I'm tempted to take Eduardo Mora because I think this fight is a little bit close, and I think both these girls make these fights close. But just for prop sake here, I am going to take Veronica Hardy at -142 because I do think she is the better fighter. I think she has the better fight IQ, and I think overall her stand-up game is better in general too, and I think her defensive grappling has gone leaps and bounds as of late. Veronica Hardy by decision is a -110. That's the way you get her even money if you're thinking about it. I don't know if she finishes Eduardo Mora, who's a pretty tough chick. And if Denise Gomez was a finisher, I don't think Veronica Hardy's going to finish her. So get Veronica Hardy at even money. You can get it at -110. I want to see what the split decision line is here. Give me one quick second here. Veronica Hardy by split decision is +450. Quite frankly, that's not great enough juice. So I would just take Veronica Hardy at -110. What'd you think of Big Mike?
Yeah, so originally, I mean, just like you said, Veronica Hardy's been on a tear since her return. I think she's pretty good. I mean, from what we've seen so far, she's, from a skill set standpoint, she looks good. Striking looks good. Defensive and offensive grappling as well. But the thing is, Eduardo Mora, who hasn't looked super impressive, she hasn't been able to make weight either, as you said, but she's fighting up at 125 now. I think she's going to have, obviously she's going to have a lot easier time making weight. She's going to be a lot more filled out. I do think Eduardo Mora has a good chance, man. I mean, what do they call her? The fucking Brazilian Ronda, whatever the fuck they call her, wherever she's from. Not that that means much at this point, especially, it's just a nickname, but I have a feeling at this higher weight class, Eduardo Mora is going to have a good opportunity or a good chance at implementing her game plan, which is getting the fight to the ground and controlling Veronica Hardy. Veronica Hardy also isn't the biggest 125er. She's pretty undersized for that division, in my opinion. So for it being a close fight, the odds reflect that it's close. Eduardo Mora +120 and 142, -142 for Veronica Hardy via DraftKings. I think I would like, if I were to bet on this fight, I'm taking a dog shot. First female fight of the card, first female dog. Eduardo Mora is a lot bigger, and I think she has a good chance of controlling Veronica Hardy.
Yeah, honestly, first female fight of the night, taking the female dog. You know how I feel. That's quite literally a theory play of mine. I don't necessarily like the odds enough to want to take the female shot. If it was almost 2-1 odds, I would like Eduardo Mora a little bit better. But Veronica Hardy by decision at even money to me sounds good, quite frankly. So moving on to the next fight, though, we have Basil Hafez versus Oban Elliott, the Welsh gangster. Shout out to our fucking boy D Wood. You know what time it is. You know what's coming. Isn't it crazy here that Oban Elliott, not necessarily. I just think the line's a little interesting because I don't necessarily think Hafez is great. I don't think he has a great setup in his striking. I don't think he has a great process, but he has a good ass blast double. He has a good front choke series. And he does fight hard. That's the thing is he does fight hard, even though we saw him gas a little bit. It's the Mickey Gall fight, but the Mickey Gall fight was at a crazy high pace and high pressure. I didn't think the JDM fight really was a split decision. I thought it was a pretty clear JDM win, even though it was technically a split decision. And his strength of schedule before the UFC outside of guys like Anthony Ivy isn't overly impressive to me. Oban Elliott, I think his win over Preston Parsons was pretty impressive. Val Woodburn isn't a guy that I think is that great per se. He's a part-time fighter. Part-time fighters are always hit or miss, to say the least. James Shaheen is a good-ass fight he has on the Cage Warriors regional scene. Oban Elliott used to finish a lot of guys, and the thing about Oban Elliott now is what is he on a – let me go check real quick. Let me pull up a Stepology. I think he's on like a 4 or 5, even a 6 decision streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 decisions in a row. So I think it is at 3-1 odds. I'm not really interested in touching Oban Elliott's money line, but I am interested in touching Oban Elliott by finish at +320. Oban Elliott double chance at +320. I think he's the better fighter. I think he has the better process. better overall grappling game, even though I think Hafez is dangerous, but Hafez is prone to burn his own arms out. And I can see that happening in this fight. I can see Oban Elliott sticking his neck somewhere where it shouldn't be. Hafez burning his arms out in a attempted front choke or guillotine, possibly even taking Hafez by submission himself. I like Oban Elliott by finish here, double chance at plus 320. What are you thinking, Mike?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Oban Elliott, man. I remember.
You're muted, brother. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Hello? Now I can't hear you.
That was my headphones. I fucked up. I'm sorry.
Nah, I'm a Oban Elliott fan. Obviously, shout out D-Wood. Shout out to the Welsh gangster Oban Elliott. I think he's a dog, man. The thing about Basil Hafez, he is a dog, and that's kind of war of attrition style fight that he likes to play into. But the thing about that is Oban Elliott is willing to do that right back at him. So as we saw in Dana White's Contender Series, Oban Elliott was getting destroyed. He was literally he was dead to rights, and he ended up surviving and winning the fight. It was incredible. I was actually driving home with my ESPN Plus sitting there. I was trying to watch and drive. I had to pull over for a second. It was absolutely insane. The durability on Oban Elliott. It's kind of alarming to me that he doesn't finish Val Woodburn in a kind of lackluster performance. But at the end of the day, Preston Parsons, he's a very good wrestler, very good grappler, and his ability to completely nullify that part of the game. And I think Preston Parsons is like a bigger, I mean, Basil Hafez is ripped, but Preston Parsons is like a big, strong dude for the division. And
I think Preston Parsons has a slightly better gas tank as well.
Yeah. So that's that win for Oban Elliott definitely sticks out to me. 3-1 odds though, that is not pretty. Oban Elliott by decision is minus 105. I would technically maybe take a dog shot, but I'm not going to because I'm riding with Oban Elliott. D-Wood ever since I started repping the Welsh fighters for D-Wood, every time semi fights or a Maryland fighter fights, D-Wood hops on the train, and I was happy to see him rooting for semi last week, even though he got dispatched early. Vinny talks. The boys are back. Vinny was not rooting for my boy, and D-Wood showed up and repped in the chat, so I'm always rocking with the Welsh gangster. And, I'm excited to watch this fight. I have a feeling it's going to be a dog fight between these two guys. I don't know about the betting side, but if I was going to make a lean, I'd probably just piggyback off you and go with Oban inside the distance because that's an exciting play.
Yeah, I think it's a good play in general. I don't even think it's exciting. It's actually a play that I rather enjoy. Let's talk about last week really quickly here. I want to stroke my own dick a little bit. I went 12-0 on picks. Every single pick I called right. The only thing I technically got wrong was calling Jillian Robertson by finish. Still, she took the dub. I fucking smashed it, and it sucks because I was in California, so I could technically only bet on 4 fights that I had my buddy do a bet for. So shout out to you, TJ, for putting in the parlay for me. Moving on to the next fight, Mickey Gall versus Ramiz Brahimaj. You want to start this one off?
Yeah, I'm going Mickey Gall all day, baby. He's 7-6. I do not foresee my boy Mickey Gall being 7-7. I think he's going to pick up the win here. It's a must-win situation for him. His fight with Basil Hafez was incredible, man. I either way that fight would have went. If they had given the decision to Mickey Gall, I wouldn't have been surprised. I'm not surprised that Basil Hafez got the nod, but it was a crazy high-paced fight, and I haven't seen too much of Ramiz Brahimaj, but I know from what I have looked into, he's not great. I know he has a submission threat. This is a bias play for me. I like Mickey Gall. He came into the UFC early, didn't have that many professional fights under his belt. As a result of that, he's 7-6 by now. But I heard somebody saying, had he waited to get onto the scene when they brought him in to fight CM Punk, if he had waited to make that leap to the UFC, his record could look a lot better right now. Could be looking at like a 15-6, 15-5 type of guy. I think Mickey Gall's underrated, man, and he's tough as nails. When they let him go, I guess, for a little while. I seen him pop up on UFC roster watch. I was upset because he always brings the fight. He's willing to take shots in order to give them. He's tough, good jiu-jitsu grappler, and he has underrated hands as well, in my opinion. So I'm going with Mickey Gall to outdog this guy and potentially get a finish.
We're on the same exact boat. I like Mickey Gall by submission. Raheem Brahimaj is horrendous. He's one of the worst fighters on the roster. Wins over guys like Sasha Pavlovich, who's on Karate Combat, who I'm not highly respective of. He's really more known for being D-Rod's best training partner. Michael Gilmore, who I always call the Butcher, because I always say on the Ultimate Fighter, they ran down the street, grabbed a random butcher, and brought him on the Ultimate Fighter because they needed someone on short notice. He gasses out after round 1. He's going to stick his neck into something, and Mickey Gall is either going to wrap his neck up with a front choke or take his back out and finish him. I can see him turtling up from ground and pound and giving up his neck and essentially quitting. I like Mickey Gall a lot by finish in this play. I think Mickey Gall by submission is great at plus 450. Let's go see Mickey Gall's double chance, shall we? Plus 250. I think that's an incredible number here, almost 3-1 odds. Mickey Gall has an underrated jab too, as we saw in the Mike Perry fight. I mean, really look at his strength of schedule. Alex Morono, Mike Perry, Hot Phil. I mean, he even gave Diego Sanchez gave him his last hoorah, which I think is the reason why people underrate him so much, is because it's tough losing to that washed old Diego Sanchez and so on. So couldn't agree with you more. Mickey Gall here by finish here. I don't think it's necessarily even a bias play. Brahimaj is pretty fucking garbage in my personal opinion.
I only say bias just because I have always loved. I just love Mickey Gall, man. I think he's so tough. Some of the shots I've seen him eat in his UFC career, he has eaten some bombs, and that boy is always trying to fight. Even if he's rocked, he still wants to engage in the fight. He doesn't curl up and like cower away. I just think he's super tough, and I would love to see him 8-6 rather than 7-7 and being released from the promotion. I think he's a nice asset on the lower end of the welterweight scale.
Yeah, so we're moving on to a fight that I personally don't have much to say about. I'm kind of going to let you say it because, I mean, I'll give a quick one here. Joanna Denise versus Marcin Tybura in the heavyweight division. I'm going to take the more experienced veteran in Marcin Tybura, but I played it with like 1 to 2 out of 10 confidence, to say the least. And I don't even know if I'll necessarily play it. It's one of those things I'll watch the fight. And if Denise looks like he gives himself a little bit of gas bag moment after the first round, then you take Tybura. Outside of that, I don't really have much to say about this fight here. Heavyweight fights I try to stay away from for the most part, unless I have a good read on it. And this fight is a fade fight by definition. So,
yeah, I like Denise Blitzkrieg. I do like Jonathan Denise here. Originally,
he said Denise Blitzkrieg, Doug. Denise Blitzkrieg, Doug.
I was originally on the Tybura side as well, just because, like, okay, Tybura is the type of guy to go in there and, mess up somebody's day just by, experience, getting him down, winning rounds. But, Jonathan Denise is sitting at plus 124 right now. I believe he was like minus 110 the other day. And if that line keeps going up, it's going to be something that is more interesting to me. Plus 124 is takeable, honestly. Tybura is getting old. We saw Jonathan Denise deal with some, not really much against Carl Williams, a little bit of wrestling threat there, but I think Jonathan has a good chance of putting him out. So if I'm going to look to see, Jonathan Denise is plus 124, his knockout line is probably exactly the same. Knockout plus 185, nothing crazy. I would prefer the money line on that in case he is able to stay on the feet and put on a striking clinic for 3 rounds. Plus 124 is solid for me. Josie Comps, what's up, my guy? We're in here breaking up. We're in here breaking down the low-level heavyweight fight. Jonathan Denise, Brazilian masterclass incoming, maybe, or he gets laid on for 3 rounds. Either way, low-level heavyweight, typically a stay away. But with Jonathan Denise line getting wider, even though 124 isn't too wide, I think I'd like my chances with him getting it done inside the distance. Tybura's getting old, man, and I know they want Denise to win this fight. So if somehow it gets to a close decision where Jonathan Denise outstrikes him and gets controlled, I have a feeling it's going Denise's way.
All right. And the next fight I think we should skip because I highly doubt anyone took, his watch tape on Roberto Romero in 2 days notice.
David Onama inside the distance and we can move on.
There we go. Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson here. Damon Jackson moving up to 155 here. Jim Miller here. Most fights in UFC history. Veteran card, veteran OG. Jim Miller fights actually pretty well in New York too as well. Wins an 80% clip in New York. I'm tempted to play this fight one of two ways. I like Damon Jackson by sub at plus 450, or I like Jim Miller by knockout at plus 400. Damon Jackson moving up here could be good for his cardio, but he doesn't take body shots well, and Jim Miller has good boxing, good pocket boxing. Punches the body well, and he follows up to the top well too as well. Damon Jackson here doesn't necessarily have the greatest pure wrestling, but he has solid cage wrestling, and he's good at grinding against the fence and pushing his way, especially with shoulder shrugs, to the back, essentially finding his way to the back. Jim Miller hasn't really been put under like a high-level grappling pace. We haven't seen him since a guy like maybe Joe Selecki per se. I think I like Damon Jackson here by sub, but I also think you could play it Jim Miller by knockout. So plus 400 Jim Miller by knockout, plus 450 Damon Jackson by finish. My most confident play on the fight would probably be Damon Jackson plus 250 double chance. What are you thinking, Mike?
Yeah, man, I'm going with the hair implants. Damon Jackson is a dog. I think moving up to 155 could potentially help his. Not that he's not durable. You know, he got finished by Danny. He's been finished a few times, but for how he handles, you know, he takes damage pretty well for the most part up until those, you know, finishing blows come. I feel like moving up will help his durability. Like you said, it could help his cardio. I think he's a very dangerous fighter. And at this point in both of their careers, I'd be willing to, if I was going to bet, say that Damon Jackson is the bigger threat to finish the fight. You know, Jim Miller took a pretty vicious whooping from Bobby Green recently. I mean, Damon Jackson kind of got whooped up by Chepe, but at this point, I mean, Chepe would probably fucking manhandle Jim Miller. And it's a tough out, man. I think Damon Jackson's looking to get on track here, get back in the win column. You know, I don't think he's going to make any sort of title run or anything at 155, but I do think he has a pretty solid chance at spoiling Jim Miller's return to New York. And I think, you know, minus 180 money line, I think that's playable in a parlay. I'm a little bit nervous, but I feel like Damon Jackson is experienced enough and smart enough to, you know, stay safe while also inflicting damage of his own. So I like Damon Jackson as well. Submission definitely is something that I think is live as well. But I like Damon Jackson, man. I think this is going to be a scrap. So we'll see who has more dog in him. I think it's Damon Jackson at this point. And he's also, you know, a pretty highly skilled fighter. So I think he'll have an answer for whatever Jim Miller is bringing. I believe so. I think that fight's going to be a banger, though.
All righty. Well, I think we have, I believe this is the prelim main event right here. So we have what I believe to be the prelim main event, and Eric Anders versus Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman's return to New York in the UFC. This is funny because I think Eric Anders is, you know, I don't think he's good. Never think he's been good. Going life or death with Jamie Pickett is never a good look. Kyle Dawkins is not a high caliber guy. He's not even in the UFC. And even if he gets the call back to the UFC, I don't think he's one of the higher level guys. Chris Weidman's been fighting the highest level guys for the longest time up until his last two fights against Brad Tavares, who's still been a ranked guy forever, and Bruno Silva. I think they're giving Chris Weidman the proper, I don't want to say farewell, but I think the proper fight to return to New York for him to get a win. Low volume, low pace guy that gasses by the third round. Probably someone that doesn't take fighting overly seriously and may not be overly committed if you look at his Instagram. Give me Chris Weidman here. Chris Weidman by decision is plus 185. I like Chris Weidman by decision here at plus 185, and I feel pretty confident about that one. TJ says I imagine Miller on his back a lot. Going back to the Jim Miller fight.
I'm going for Weidman. Last time Weidman fought, he was plus 250 underdog against Bruno Silva, and he was my lock of the week that week. The reason being, you know, we see, I mean, although Chris Weidman did lose to Brad Tavares, it was a close fight, and his knee was clearly still, it was a little bit hurt. He was getting kicking the shit out of Chris Weidman's leg in that fight. So he was, Brad Tavares lost, whatever. I don't take too much off Chris Weidman, but Chris Weidman typically doesn't lose to a guy of this caliber. I know he's old, Anders isn't very young either. And just like Bruno Silva, I think it's a setup spot for him to get a dub. He's not losing to this level of competition. And it looks like people have also been betting on him because he's only a minus 105 now. I believe he was at 1 point plus money. Still an underdog. Chris Weidman, beautiful parlay piece, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be in very much danger unless a version of Eric Anders that we have not yet seen comes out here and puts the beats on him. I think Chris Weidman's going to pretty comfortably sail his way to a dub.
I think you're giving bad betting advice by saying it's a beautiful parlay piece. It's even money.
Huh?
It's even money. Take it straight. Like,
yeah, but I'm gonna throw him in a parlay. Boost the odds out of that bitch. Like if I put Damon Jackson, Chris Weidman, and Marcus McGee, it's like plus 600.
I'm not saying that doesn't hit because I agree with all the picks as of now, but I'm just saying, y'all, like everyone has to stop with the parlay chasing. That's why everyone loses money, man. Straight bets is where all the successful wins are. But so I guess okay. So with that being said, we both agree here with Chris Weidman. You got Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. Seems like we're both on the Marcus McGee train. I like Marcus McGee actually to get a finish here. When in doubt, if he gets some sort of club and sub, actually, club and sub would be something that I would find extremely interesting. Knockout is probably going to be more of the route in which the way it goes, especially with the blitzing in and out style that Marcus McGee has and the heavy hands that he does have to as well. Jonathan Martinez trains with high-level guys. Marcus McGee trains with high-level guys. I think it's going to be a fun-ass fight, man. One thing I like is the FanDuel props here. I think you can go to the FanDuel props, and I think the FanDuel props, McGee rounds 2 and 3 is incredible. But they also have McGee rounds 3 or decision, which I think is something that's also fun to take. So I like Marcus McGee here. Marcus McGee is a minus 148, which I'm actually surprised at the line because I thought Marcus McGee would actually be an underdog here, especially with the level of competition that Jonathan Martinez has fought.
Yeah, I think Marcus McGee is probably just going to be too much for him. I mean, I don't know what Jonathan Martinez is going to do. I guess he could just kick his legs all day. But at the end of the day, I feel like, I mean, Marcus McGee's not even young either. But for a 34-year-old, he looks incredible. He's looked incredible this far out in his UFC career. Submissions 14-1, which is crazy. He only has 1 sub on his record against Journey Newsom. But
that's why I said club and sub. I actually have a funny story about Marcus McGee. Actually, is out here. So as you know, I'm out here in Arizona, here in the and he trains out at the MMA lab. This is before he signed to the UFC, like right before he signed to the UFC. I'm at Vasa cutting weight for a grappling tournament, and he's sitting there in the sauna. And so essentially, me and him are essentially like chilling in the sauna, going back to the pool, chilling in the sauna. And I was like, hey, I got a joint in the parking lot if you want to smoke. And he's like, sure, let's go in my truck. And we ended up smoking a J in his big-ass truck fucking not long ago, a few years ago, which I thought was pretty fucking cool. So little random moment. Marcus McGee, dope-ass fool, to say the least. Very nice guy, very kind guy. But
he's a good skateboarder, too. I've seen videos on his Instagram recently. He was actually nice.
Yeah, bro. He's probably – I've always wanted to see who's the best skater. He could have a nice game of skate between him and Jalen Turner. That'd be sick.
Yeah, based on what I saw, I think Marcus McGee's taking that one. But Jalen Turner's not a slouch either. Yeah, I think Marcus McGee inside the distance. What is the odds on that? Double chance.
Plus 180.
It's not great, but plus
I mean,
180.
I still think it's more – I think it's more likely. I feel like his paths to victory are via finish, because I think he's going to land the bigger moments too as well. And it's not like we haven't seen Jonathan Martinez get shinned before. And I don't know, McGee has good pressure, and McGee has good cardio too. He has 3-round cardio, great 3-round cardio. So
yeah, I'm with you. Marcus McGee for the dub. What do we got after that? Next fight after that, I think we got a prospect. They're calling him the lightweight Conor McGregor. The lightweight. They're calling him the Brazilian Conor McGregor based on his style. Mauricio Hoofy and James Yontop. This one's gonna be interesting. I think actually, let me check. I haven't looked at the odds. I haven't checked the odds all week.
They're unplayable. Hoofy's a minus 900 and Yontop's a plus 600.
Well, I've seen the money line odds, but one thing I think
I do have
And,
one play that I actually really do like.
We might be the same play.
On 3, we say it. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Decision.
Under 1.5. We're both like completely opposite then in that case.
Dude, James Yontop, I mean, he has a granite chin, and I just feel like there's a chance because Mauricio Hoofy has been low volume in the past, and I do think he's probably going to finish the fight. They're setting him up for a masterclass, but I think that's why I was looking at the odds, because Hoofy to win by decision is only plus 200. But, from minus 900 to plus 200 for a guy who has been low volume in the past against a guy who has shown durability against a guy like Vyacheslav Borshev. I think there's a potential. I was thinking about it and I was like, this is one of those fights, man, where I take the knockout or I take the under and then it just keeps getting drawn out. And I'm like, why is this not ending? Why the fuck did I put this in a parlay? And then he wins by decision and you're sitting there cooked with your inside the distance ticket. But I mean, in all likelihood, he probably does get the finish. I just think there's no juice. Well, what's the under? Under 1.5?
165.5. Or I forgot they're fighting at 165. The under is 1.5 at plus 140. I like that a lot, and I think Yontop's going to come and fight Mauricio Hoofy. It's going to bring the best out of Mauricio Hoofy, and I think he finds a finish here, and I think he finds it pretty early. It's a way to negate playing Hoofy KL1, but still find a way to find edges that maybe gets a club and sub, or say Yontop gets rocked at the end of the first round and comes out at the end of the second round a little bit hurt, and then Hoofy has a little bit of killer instinct. This is one thing I do like about the Fighting Nerds is they do have killer instincts, so they will hunt their prey when they're hurt. So, and from a betting angle, I do like the under 1.5. So
it's not bad at plus money.
Not at all. Next fight, Viviane Araújo versus Karine Silva. I have 0 plays, 0 thoughts on this one. I'm going to let my boy Mike take over.
I mean, Viviane Araújo is tough, plus 240 underdog. Karine Silva, minus 298. Yeah, I don't have really any interest in this at all. And maybe just maybe if I was going to try to be a crazy person, Karine Silva likes to finish fights. Her by submission is plus 330. It's not the craziest thing in the world. I don't necessarily want to bet that. Let me see how many submissions she has on her record. I think it's a lot. Unless I'm tripping. She has 9 knockouts, 8 submissions, only 1 decision. But I think Araújo, out of her 6 losses, she has 1 via TKO and 5 decisions. The last time she was TKO'd was in 2017 outside of the UFC. So it's been 7 years since Araújo has been finished. She is 37 years old, and she is fighting a demon in Karine Silva. Inside the distance for Silva would sit at, my phone's just in the freaking thing. Inside the distance, plus 240. Honestly, that's not horrible. Viviane Araújo is pretty durable. Like I said, 5 out of her 6 losses are by decision. But Karine Silva is a surging contender, and I think there's a likelihood that she gets her out of there. Plus 240 isn't crazy. Maybe if you're, spamming parlays, Karine Silva is not bad. I feel like it's a pretty safe pick. I don't see Viviane Araújo being able to deal with her.
If you're spamming parlays and your thoughts are, I'm going to put a 3-1 female in your parlay, may God have mercy on your soul. You actually talked me into, though, the under 2.5 at plus 220. I think that is a great play, Mike. I think you talked me into that one. So
she finishes all her fights, man. I think her first decision win was in her last fight against Lipsky. Yeah. That was her first decision victory, was against Lipsky in her last fight.
Lipsky's tough as shit, bro.
Yeah. And
she has good striking. So
yeah. Araújo's getting old, man. That inside the distance could come to fruition here. As nerve-wracking. Huh?
You talked me into it. That was it. Fuck yeah. I think this next fight to me plays out one of 2 ways, and I think both odds and props are fucking incredible, which cracks me up. Which I also don't think makes sense. Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. Okay.
Can I guess what you think it is? What your 2 picks are?
I already know you're gonna know, so you tell me.
So when you say they're interesting and juicy, you didn't say juicy. I said juicy. But we got Well, shit, it's hard for me to say because I was gonna say you were probably thinking Bo Nickel knockout, Paul Craig submission, but Bo Nickel knockout's minus 150.
You got one of them. You got one of them. The second one, Paul Craig submission
plus 1,200.
Bo Nickel decision.
That could go crazy.
Paul Craig. All right, so Paul Craig spams front kicks. Not a great striker, but it's not like Bo Nickel is a world-class striker. Let's just call it like it is. And Paul Craig has gone to the brink of death and with multiple people, right? And I know Paul Craig's not necessarily known for going to decisions per se. But at 185, I can see Bo Nickel not necessarily wanting to play in Paul Craig's guard. And Bo Nickel playing just safe enough to where he gets his points, wins the fight, gets his ass booed off stage, but walks away with the win against the top-ranked guy against Paul Craig. I can see 100% that happening. Or I can see Bo Nickel wrestling too much, playing in his guard, and Paul Craig doing some crazy out-of-his-ass miracle hat trick shit. If this guy could if this guy can finish Jamal Hill and sub Magomed Ankalaev, why couldn't he sub Bo Nickel? I think both those fight props make no sense. Hell yeah, Vinny, let's roll. I think those fight props make no sense. Like, let's roll, Vinny. Why the fuck not? Almost plus 8-1 odds for a decision by Bo Nickel on the guy that should win. Or the only fucking way that Paul Craig's going to win this fight, like, I hate to say it like that, the only way, it's fucking by submission. It's like the only fucking way, man. Like, yeah, at plus 600, you don't necessarily have to juice him up, or plus 800, you don't have to juice him up anymore. But if he's going to fucking win, his winning condition here, guys, is fucking submission. That's just what it is. Like, he's not going to fucking front kick fucking Bo Nickel in the stomach and knock him out, is he? Plus 2,800 odd smashes. How crazy would that be? How fucking crazy would that be?
Yeah, I feel like part of me thinks that Bo Nickel is going to engage in the wrestling and try to submit Paul Craig just to, be like, yeah, I sub Paul Craig. And that's where he might find himself in danger. But I also have a weird feeling, like, I don't know why for some reason I've been thinking Bo Nickel might knock him out on the feet. I don't know. It's hard to say because Paul Craig doesn't take damage the best. And Bo Nickel, when he knocked out Val Woodburn, not that Val Woodburn's, amazing or anything, but he looked like he had some power in his hands with that uppercut. And I think there's a chance that happens, but value isn't there. Minus 150 for a knockout. He could take him down and sub him. He could win by decision. So if anything, yeah, I think this is a stay away fight, but sprinkle on the sneaky Bo Nickel decision. And of course, bro, it's Paul Craig is always worth a little sub play, man. I don't care who he's fighting. Imagine you're like, dude, I think Paul Craig has a chance to beat Magomed Ankalaev. Everyone's telling you, bro, fuck off. Last second sub, anything is possible. He did it against Krylov, literally got knocked out by an elbow, hit by another elbow, woke back up and pulled the triangle. Anything is possible when Paul Craig's fighting. And it's worth, $10 to win 120. That's not a terrible, terrible way to waste $10.
Bro, I mean, even if you want to play it safe, plus 900 be a double chance.
Right, goddamn.
So, this next fight is fucking. This next fight, even though it's a rematch, I am super excited for it. Michael Chandler versus Charles do Bronx Oliveira. You want to go first? Or you want me to?
It's up to you. Because I kind of have a weird feeling about this fight, man.
I'm taking Mike Chandler.
I got a weird feeling.
I'm taking Mike Chandler. I think Mike, and I can't believe I'm taking Mike Chandler, but I'm taking Mike Chandler. He was knocking on the door to the W last time. And is this a 3-round fight, correct?
5-round fight.
Oh, it's a 5-round fight? Bro,
I still am with you, bro. I got a weird feeling.
This fucking kills me. Iron Mike's gas tank kills me here.
Dude, I got a feeling he's gonna fight a little bit.
I think
different.
Iron Mike is ready for this time. Whoever this Matthews Asweta guy is, he doesn't know shit about fighting. So
I got a weird feeling.
Duck.
I think we might see a little bit more control.
Just kidding, Matthew. Love you.
I think we might see a little bit more controlled chaos out of Mike Chandler this time around. He's, at least the way he's talking, he sounds serious. I mean, he's always sounded serious, but he is a guy that I don't want to say panders, but he loves the fans and he loves to put on a show for the fans. But, he's getting up there in age. And I think obviously Charles Oliveira has a say in this too, but I think Mike Chandler's going to do anything that he possibly can to get the win. And I think that's going to involve him putting himself in less danger than he typically does. I have been having a weird, I love Charlie Olives. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. I love Michael Chandler. I wanted him to win in the first fight. I always root for Charles Oliveira, but something about Michael Chandler, I'm a fan, man. And I've had this weird feeling because in my head, I'm like, oh man, Michael Chandler's probably going to get finished again and it's going to be over. And something's telling me that he's going to potentially win by knockout this Saturday. Maybe I'm tripping. And I'm not trying to be biased. I just have this weird feeling in my head. And of course, I could be delusional, but I love both of these guys. I'm not trying to be on either side. Like, oh, I want him to win so bad. I'll be happy regardless, and I'll be sad regardless for the loser. But something's telling me Iron Mike is coming with a vengeance, dude. Something is telling me. And him to win by knockout is plus 350. That's, for some reason, I thought it would be a little bit steeper than that. But I don't know, man. This is a tough one because Charlie Olives is, he's that guy. He's 35 now. Michael Chandler's fucking 38, 39. But I would love to see my boy Mikey Chandler get it done.
It seems like the chat and me and you are all unanimous. We're all on Michael Chandler here. We may have cursed him, but Godspeed to Mike Chandler because I'm on him this time. One prop that I love is DraftKings offers fight props. Significant strikes for Michael Chandler, 28.5. Give me that over in a 5-round fight. Give me Michael Chandler's money line at plus 2-1, and then let me hedge that over 28.5 because he probably doesn't get finished that early. Let's go, Iron Mike. The gang is with you. Combat Sports is with you. Matthew's with you. Let's fucking ride, gang. On to the main event. Jon Bones fucking Jones, the GOAT, soon to be undefeated once they overturn his 12-6 elbow bullshit, versus Stipe Miocic. Fun fact, did you know Stipe's nickname? Most people don't. I've learned.
I feel like I should. And when you say it, I'm going to know it. But as I'm on the spot right now,
I'll give you one hint. Beer. Give you 2 hints. 316.
Stone Cold?
Stone Cold.
That's interesting.
Stipe Stone Cold Miocic. I never knew that until I was looking at his Tapology not long ago. TJ says Jake Paul's a lock at minus 200 tomorrow. Brother, Jake Paul by knockout is a lock at plus 110. Ride with him.
That shit hurts, bro.
With him. I like Mario Barrios at plus 142 by knockout too as well. Mario Barrios at plus 142 as well against Abriel Ramos in Boxing Boys. Give me Jon Jones by submission. I think fuck. Give me Jon Jones by decision, plus 400.
Decision? You think it's going 5?
It's one of the two. If you're going double chance, give me double chance at even money. Jon Jones by decision or submission.
You said Mario Barrios by knockout?
Yeah, plus 140.
Plus 150 on DraftKings now.
Oh, it moved up. It moved up 10 cents then because it was plus 140 almost all day.
And Jake Paul by knockout's plus 150 now too. Those two together is plus 525. That's a little banger.
Boxing banker for Friday to start your day off.
Dude, I can honestly see
Katie Taylor probably gets a dub on Amanda Serrano too at plus 100.
I think
Stipe is going to be slow, but you know what? Jon Jones is also going to be slow, Vinny. Jon Jones by sub, Jon Jones by decision.
I think we might see some vicious 12-6 elbows, bro. I foresee it happening from Mount 12-6 elbow finish. But either way.
This motherfucker says, don't talk about my children. He's over here looking like
Stipe
he's looking like
John.
He's looking like Johnny fucking Walker when Anthony Smith.
Stipe's known to
Arthur
slur.
talking about my family.
He was probably saying something that relatively sounds like children. Maybe he was talking about eating chitlins. Let me get some chitlins. He's like, don't talk about my children. The slurring Stipe may have confused Jon Jones, but either way, he's mad. He's acting like an asshole. I think he might beat the fuck out of Stipe Miocic. I can see some vicious 12-6s. Maybe he'll turn over and get sub, but what's double chance?
Maybe Jon Jones will turn up and do some coke. Who knows?
You probably already did. Jon Jones by knockout or submission is minus 250. Ugh. Probably happens though. One of the two. Either way, I don't see it going 5 rounds.
And then Jon Jones grabs the mic and says, Alex Fajeda, I want you, Chama.
I have a feeling I gotta see, and this is I've been having a lot of weird feelings this week about this card. Maybe I'm just trying to make it more exciting for myself, but my boy's been, a lot of people, they're like, man, he's ducking Tom Aspinall. I'm like, bro, I don't think he has no fear in his heart. And there's a possibility he goes out there and decimates Stipe Miocic and says, you know what, Tom Aspinall, what's up? And then everyone goes insane. And then he reneges on that and then doesn't fight again. Who knows? I want you, Shama, Benny. That was beautiful, Benny.
Benny, you're beautiful.
Either way, I think Jon Jones is going to make it look easy against the 42-year-old who hasn't fought since he got starched in April 2021, I believe. So.
All right, mate. So what's your damn, we don't even have a Nick versus Mike pick this whole card.
Do we?
We don't. Not one, it seemed like. Seemed like we're pretty on point with all of them.
Are we on the same for every single fight?
Yeah, it's pretty whack.
Huh.
It's pretty whack, man.
I mean, what if we get every single fight right? Are we about to put in a $10 parlay with every single fight on the card?
Well, you took Eduardo Mora and I took Veronica Hardy. That's the only one, but not enough for me to bet on. Not enough for me to be like, ooh, I feel super confident there. What's your most confident parlay of the week? If you're going to do a parlay. Mine would be Marcus McGee. Well, no. I would do Hoofy under 1.5. I'm pretty confident in that play. I have a sick feeling about Michael Chandler, so I'm going to consider him confidence. And I'm going to take Mickey Gall to finish Brahimaj's garbage ass. God, that's so disrespectful of me. I don't mean to say it like that. I'm going to take Gall to finish Brahimaj, who's not a great fighter. And somehow my most confident parlay of the parlay is 25-1. Under 1.5 for Rufi Yontop, Mike Chandler, and Mickey Gall by finish. If you want to take even Mike Chandler out to be safe, I like Chris Weidman. I mean, I think that's a setup spot for Weidman, which is hard to take someone almost 50 years old to be in your parlay as someone you're super confident in, but yeah.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go 3 money lines, all close money, just because I'm confident in the picks. Straight through Chris Weidman, Damon Jackson, Mickey Gall is plus 417. I feel like that's something I could, confidently throw a hammer down on. I don't know who sells that. If anyone's going to sell it, it's going to be Damon Jackson, but I feel super confident. So yeah, plus 417 for that. I mean, obviously yours is juicy as hell, and that's probably something that can get a little 25 piece on it, hit for a little 500.
My shit's probably not the most safe play of all time either.
Yeah.
I like Rufi on top at plus money a lot, quite frankly. If you take Michael Chandler, if you were to take Michael Chandler out and you were to put Chris Weidman in there, it would still be pretty juicy at plus 1540. So I still want to be mad at those odds.
Yeah, I feel like there's in mostly the fucking prelims, I feel like there's some really good value, man. I'm looking at it and it's just like, this is a pretty proper value from
What sucks is I don't feel like this card is like amazing from a betting standpoint. I feel like last week's card was amazing from a betting standpoint because you had a bunch of dogs, you had a bunch of finishes you could call, and so on and such forth. As compared to this card, it's pretty cut and dry. I feel like all the odds are actually even to, or actually what they should be, and we're kind of putting that position to where we just have to take who we think are winners and how we truly think they're going to win. Even the double chances are kind of shit this week. So
right. The money lines, there's some value on there. Like in the prelims, Mickey Gall, fucking Jonathan Deniz is an underdog. Damon Jackson is less than 2-1 odds. Chris Weidman's an underdog. Marcus McGee's -150. I'm confident in all those guys, honestly. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research, do a little bit more thinking on it. But the prelims, all week I've been thinking the prelims are, a pretty solid spot. Whereas going towards the main event, there's some heavier favorites and a little bit less to work with in terms of straight money line value. But I think this card will be fun. I mean, a lot of people have been, underwhelmed by the name value and matchups on this card. But I think, it is what it is. I think it'll be a fun card. Hopefully our picks go crazy because we have pretty much all the same picks. I'm excited either way, even though it's a late. I feel like I wish if any pay-per-view was going to start early, it would be cool if it was this one. I mean, you don't have as much of a worry on that front, but main card starting at 10, I'm about to be sick. I know I'm about to be sent.
Honestly, even if I did like just the money lines of the people I thought were going to win the prelims, it's Weidman, Jackson, Tibura, Gall, Elliott, and Hardy. It's only a plus 1874, so it's nothing too fucking insane. So, even if I were to add David Onama there, plus 2100. So, but all right, Maine. So, is there anything else you want to talk about? Any questions y'all have before I at least get out of here? I don't know if Mike's going to stay out and chat. I have to get to bed. I'm already schlumping right now.
Yeah, we just took a tough L over here with the Commanders. Motherfuckers is hurt. I'm about to watch Gen V. I'm fucking excited to watch that show, bro. It's amazing.
It's a great show, bro. Honestly, bro, the boys' universe is just so well crafted, well put together. Such a good parody of our own world. So it's fun as shit. So
I got 2 episodes left in Gen V, and then it's season 4 for the boys. So probably play a little bit of finals, run a little bit of Gen V, and then the boys. Yeah, Gen V is fucking good, man. I was loving the boys. And when I turned on Gen V, so after season 3, I'm like, damn, now I got to watch this other one. And then after the first episode, I'm like, I kind of want to just watch the boys. And then after episode 2, I'm like, yo, this show is like that, bro. And I don't even know which one I like more at this point. I'm such a fanboy right now, and I'm hopping on the train so late. But I'm happy that I did because this is one of my favorite shows I've seen in recent memory.
As they say, better late than never, brother. And that's a real fact when it comes to that's the good thing about TV shows that are on streaming services. That's not like TV shows back in the day where you can hop on the train late. This isn't the fucking 90s, bro. Enjoy the shows when you can. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
all right. Before we go, we already did our parlays. Do you have an underdog of the week and a lock of the week?
All right. Underdog of the week, Michael Chandler. We saw this fight should be lined at a little bit closer 50-50 than it is plus 2-1 because Michael Chandler literally was knocking on the door to finishing Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is not the perfect fighter. He does have a chin deficiency. Not that Michael Chandler shouldn't be the favorite, but I don't think he should be a 2-1 underdog. So Michael Chandler is my dog of the week. For my lock of the week, it's a prop. It's Hoofi Yantop under 1.5. If you want to do it, fight not to start round 3 is even money too as well. That would be my quote unquote, I don't use this term, but quote unquote lock of the week. You know what I'm saying? My favorite play of the week. I'll call it that. Nick's favorite play. Hoofi Yantop under 1.5 or rounds not to start rounds number 3, which is also at even money at -110. So
yeah, I like it.
What about you? Dog of the week and your favorite play of the week?
If I had an underdog, I want to say Jonathan Deniz, but I'm not super confident in it. I'm not super confident in Michael Chandler either, but I do have a dog. So 2 dogs I like, Jonathan Deniz and Michael Chandler. I'll just go Michael Chandler. So we're riding squad ride for Michael Chandler. And then lock of the week, if I had like I said, there's no such thing as a lock in fighting. But if I was going to go for my most confident play, money line play of the week, I want to go 2 for 2 on calling Chris Weidman. He was plus 240 last time out. He won against Bruno Silva, not without controversy, but I think the right guy won, and I think he has everything that it takes to get past Eric Anders. So I'm going to go with Chris Weidman at minus 105, value play of the week.
That is a value play to say the least, man. I mean, even money. Eric Anders, again, gas deficiency, doesn't seem like he's going to be fighting. Doesn't want to be fighting forever. And football is the worst space for fighting. So,
yeah. Right.
All right, gang. So we appreciate y'all. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Sorry about the lower energy tonight. We are both beat from tonight. So
right.
We promise you next week will be better, but we still got an hour in with y'all.
Yep.
Love, peace, chicken grease.
You already know. Like, comment, subscribe. Come join us next week. We're going to be chopping it up. Take care, Vinny. Much love to you, bro. Everyone who commented in the chat, much love, guys. We appreciate it.
Love you, Vin. Keep on your letterbox shit.
Oh, yeah. Hey, bet responsibly.